July 4th, 2010. Over the Atlantic at night, a stolen Cessna 400 runs southeast with a 19-year-old at the controls. He has never taken a flying lesson, not one. Behind him, 27 months on the run, 7 states, roughly 100 break-ins, 4 stolen airplanes, and an open FBI case file with his name on it. The machine under his hands right now is airplane number 5. The bill for hunting this kid runs into the millions. The reward the FBI posted? $10,000. That's not a typo. And one detail almost nobody quotes. Across 2 years and 100 crime scenes, there is exactly one human being he ever aims a gun at. Remember that. It's the last thing this story pays off. 2 questions decide everything ahead. How does a hungry kid from a trailer on Camano Island teach himself to fly? And how does a manhunt this size actually end? Camano Island, Washington. 1998. Camano Island is the kind of place people retire to. Quiet water, cedar shadows, beach houses that sit empty 10 months a year while their owners live their real lives somewhere else. Colton Harris-Moore grows up there in a trailer at the end of a dirt road. A court-ordered psychological evaluation will later put it in flat clinical language. His mother drank and became mean, breaking his possessions. His father, in time's telling, gets into an argument at a barbecue, walks into the woods, and is never heard from again. A man who walks into trees and doesn't come back. His stepfather dies when Colton is about 7. That same year, hunger sends a 7-year-old through his first unlocked door, blankets, food, and water at first. Then, as he gets better at it, hot baths and frozen meals cooked in strangers' ovens while their driveways sit empty. Take what keeps you alive. Be gone before anyone comes home. A 7-year-old's operational doctrine. And Child Protective Services knows. The trailer at the end of that road gets reported in writing, repeatedly, starting when he's 7. A paper trail of warnings that sits in a file cabinet while the child it describes learns to cook other people's food in other people's kitchens. Nothing changes. Nobody comes down that dirt road. The same state that can't spare a caseworker will one day spare a Black Hawk. Every empty house becomes a homework set. Which doors give, which windows latch, which neighbors notice. And by 10, he can read a beach community the way other kids read a bus schedule. The one skill nobody wanted him to have is the only one anyone ever let him practice. The system finally sees him at 12, through handcuffs. First conviction, then 3 more at 13, priced at about 10 days apiece. Then he takes a neighbor's camcorder, and the state that shrugged at a starving 7-year-old suddenly finds its full voice. A 3-year juvenile sentence. Years of stolen dinners cost him days. 1 camera costs him 3 years. Do that math, and know that some of the deputies who cuff him at 12 will still be hunting him at 19. Renton, Washington, April 2008, 17 years old, transferred to a halfway house with no fence and no bars. The official paperwork settles it in one almost embarrassed line. He fled by walking out of the facility. Hours pass before anyone notices. By then, a 17-year-old with no cash, no pack, and no weapon is already moving through the dark toward timber and shoreline. He knows better than any of the men who will be sent to search it. The clock starts here. Month 0. Caught. 0. Where does a broke 17-year-old with a 3-year sentence go? And who, honestly, is even looking? He goes into the trees and becomes a rumor. He camps in the timber above the beach houses with sleeping bags, stolen food, and a laptop riding a neighbor's Wi-Fi. And the San Juan Islands become his hunting ground. Hundreds of vacation homes, empty every off-season, separated from mainland police by ferry schedules and cold water. Deputies start reading a serial pattern in the reports. Food missing from freezers, blankets gone from closets, a shower recently used in a house whose owners are 3 states away, entries so clean that some families don't notice for weeks. At a few scenes, bare footprints. Remember those. By the time it all ends, investigators will tie roughly 100 break-ins and thefts to him, most across Washington, Idaho, and into Canada. Right now, all anyone knows is that something is living off their islands like a ghost. He tries a partner exactly once. An associate from the early days, a kid called Iron Wing, gets caught and draws 18 months. That's the whole experiment. 2 people are a signal. 1 person is a shadow. Keep a ledger from here on. Their column, extra patrols, K-9 units, Marine deputies. His column, bicycles, then cars, then boats. Every time they close a lane, he moves up a vehicle class. Bottom row, both sides. Caught, 0. Month 6. On a stolen laptop, police find flight simulator software, and the burglary file stops being a burglary file. The Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, the sober trade press of American aviation, not a tabloid, reports it in the driest sentence anyone wrote about him that year. Police reports indicate he used stolen credit cards to purchase additional information on how to fly. Aviation manuals. A How to Fly DVD. A flight school with 1 student and 1 teacher. Both jobs his. Tuition billed to strangers. Why airplanes? Look at the map he lives on. Islands, water, police that arrive by ferry. A boat gets searched at a dock and a car hits a checkpoint sooner or later. But the night sky over the San Juans is empty, unlit, and effectively nobody's jurisdiction until the wheels touch. For a kid on this map, an airplane is the one exit nothing on the ground can close. Maybe you've flown a simulator. Could you land the real thing? A simulator has no crosswind shoving your gut sideways at 50 feet, no night pressing against the glass, no fuel gauge that means it. Get the flare wrong in software and you click restart. Get it wrong in aluminum and they find you in a tree line. He knows all of this and grinds the software anyway, hour after hour in the dark, the way other teenagers grind a video game, except his final exam is pass or die, and no adult has ever once reached over to grab the controls. November 12, 2008. Orca's Island Airport after dark. A hangar door, a pry bar, and inside, a Cessna 182 sitting there like the keys to the sky. Month 7. The syllabus is over. Tonight is the exam. Can a kid who has never touched a real control yoke get a Cessna off the ground in the dark? And if he does, how does he ever get it back down? The hangar barely resists. A OPA will note the sore point for its pilot readership. No supplemental locks. A pry bar and some nerve, and a 17-year-old is standing in the dark next to a Cessna 182. Tail number N24658, owned by Seattle radio host Bob Rivers. He works the checklist. Master on, fuel, trim, throttle. The engine catches, coughs, settles into a rhythm, and cold prop wash rolls back over an airplane its owner will never see whole again. He rolls, faster. The runway edge slides past. The nose wheel goes light. The wheels leave the pavement. Hold that second. A boy who taught himself everything he knows out of stolen manuals and a pirated simulator is 300 feet over Orca's Island and climbing, and there is no instructor's hand hovering near the yoke, no radio call, no one on Earth who knows where he is. 17. Airborne. Alone. He points the 182 east into the Cascade Range, mountains that kill licensed, current, instrument-rated pilots every single year. And for the next hour, the peaks slide past as black shapes against blacker sky, terrain that gives a pilot exactly one chance to be wrong. He isn't wrong. Not tonight. Roughly 300 miles later comes the part no simulator ever sold him. He gets the airplane down hard on the Yakima Indian Reservation. A crash landing, the airframe wrecked, the kind of arrival that ends most stories. Then climbs out of the wreck and walks into the sagebrush, gone before anyone reaches the site. Investigators find a wrecked airplane and no body. Lessons, 0. Miles, 300. Somewhere far behind him, deputies are still watching ferry docks, and every airplane he touches from here on will be faster, heavier, and less forgiving than this one. Now the case jumps a level. A stolen aircraft flown across state lines is a federal crime, and that word, federal, lands like a door closing. The FBI opens a file, and the file gets a face. Special Agent Fred Gutt, Seattle Field Office. His job from this night forward is to be the adult answer to the question no agent enjoys hearing out loud. How does an unlicensed teenager keep doing this? Gutt fields the reporters. He watches the pattern sharpen. And one quieter line goes into his file too. The line that changes the rules of engagement. Burglary reports on the islands list stolen firearms. The armed burglar is now an armed pilot. From here, this is a kid in the woods, versus a man at a desk with the entire federal government behind him. For the next 20 months, the desk keeps losing. Through the first half of 2009, he refines the craft. Boats across open water, cars down the island highways, and then delivers the receipt proving he knows exactly how absurd this has become. A burgled homeowner's computer and credit card get used to order bear mace and $6,500 worth of night vision goggles. The victims of his burglaries build for the tools of his next burglaries, from their own desks on their own cards. Ledger, summer 2009, planes, 1, boats and cars, climbing. Caught, 0. There's barely a current photograph of him in circulation. The islands learn his name long before his face. Whose job is a kid like this exactly? And how big does the next swing at him get? September 11th, 2009. A Cirrus SR-22 lifts off from Friday Harbor and lands on Orcas Island. 12 nautical miles. Barely a hop. Which is the point. The SR-22 is a league up from anything he's touched. Faster, heavier, complex enough that its own maker builds a parachute into the airframe. He isn't joyriding. He's practicing. A short, deliberate check flight in a harder machine. A student promoting himself one aircraft class at a time. Plane number 2 ends on a runway instead of in wreckage. 18 days later, September 29th. Bonners Ferry, Idaho. A Cessna 182 vanishes from a hangar where bare footprints are found on the floor. 260 miles back west over the Cascades at night, then a crash landing near Granite Falls, Washington. Plane number 3, but this time he's down on the mainland in Snohomish County, and the hunters know roughly where he is. October 5th. The woods outside Granite Falls fill with everything the government can put on the ground. Roughly 3 dozen officers, K-9 units, tactical teams, and overhead, a Department of Homeland Security Black Hawk, a war helicopter, hunting one teenager, on foot. This is the day the bill starts running toward the millions no agency will ever post. Then, somewhere in those trees, shots are fired at Snohomish County deputies. By a shooter the reports never identify and never once tie to Colton. Nobody is ever charged. File that away. Granite Falls, an unidentified trigger, no charges. It comes back at the very end of this story. The day itself closes on paper. HeraldNet, verbatim. As the sun dipped low in the sky, no suspect was in handcuffs. A helicopter, dog teams, dozens of guns. Caught stays at 0. Now flip to the hunter's side of the glass, because Fred Gutt's problem is about to get worse in a way no academy course covers. If a Black Hawk and 3 dozen officers can't find one teenager in the woods, what can? The answer is already forming, and it wears a t-shirt. The internet does the math faster than the Bureau does. Within days, a Facebook fan page swells towards 60,000 people. 60,000 strangers clicking follow on a fugitive Gutt is paid to catch. Mama tried t-shirts go on sale. His mother tells KATU on camera, "I hope he stole those planes." In December, Time crowns him America's most wanted teenage bandit. A newsstand face at 18. Quick aside, if you're this deep into his story, you're one of those 60,000. The subscribe button just makes it official. Now freeze the cheering. On the islands, the legend reads differently. Some families get hit twice. Residents hire private security. Others sleep with shotguns near the bed because the burglary reports say the kid in the woods carries stolen guns. Fame turns every islander into a sensor, every dock into a checkpoint, every gravel road into a pair of eyes. A lot of them aren't. And while the country reads about the legend is prying open another window with a screwdriver. Famous or not, he still has to eat tonight. Against all of that, the one official posted public answer, a reward of $10,000. Millions burned in the hunt. 10 grand on the poster. His reply comes in the only currency he deals in. 2 more airplanes. How much longer can the islands that made him hold him? And what does he do when the map finally runs out? February 11th, 2010, Anacortes, Washington, month 22. Plane number 4, a Cirrus SR-22, flown through some of the most sensitive airspace on the continent. The Winter Olympics are running in Vancouver, and the border sky is carved up with temporary flight restrictions. No-fly geometry of the kind enforced by actual fighter jets. AOPA's write-up. He flew it, apparently just missing a temporary flight restriction in place for the Winter Olympics. Just missing. A teenager threading Olympic lockdown airspace by the width of a sentence. The airplane comes down rough on Orcas Island. He walks away. 4 for 4. And the signatures start. At a burgled grocery store, someone draws chalk footprints across the floor, bare feet, walking away from the scene. May 30th, a veterinary clinic finds cash and a note, $100 with words KIRO put on the record. Please use this money for the care of animals. Colton Harris-Moore, aka the Barefoot Bandit, a hunted teenager tithing stolen money to animals and signing his own wanted poster. In the same weeks, he is still breaking into people's homes. Try to square those two facts. The paperwork never does. In Seattle, imagine being the agent who tapes that note into the file. The kid isn't hiding anymore. He's corresponding. By late June, month 26, the islands are finished for him. Every ferry line and marina in the San Juans is wired with recognition now, and plenty of it is armed. The map he grew up on has closed. So he does the thing nobody guarding an island expects. He goes east, fast, and the recovered vehicles trail behind him like breadcrumbs. Idaho, Yankton, South Dakota, where a 2008 Sequoia goes missing. Norfolk, Nebraska, Ottumwa, Iowa, where the stolen ride is a town truck. Dallas City, Illinois, Indiana. 6 states in roughly 10 days, every leg its own quiet solve. A vehicle found, fuel found, food found, gone before breakfast. In country he has never seen in his life. Behind him, the pins on Fred Gutt's map march east faster than any field office can hand off the file. He even has a destination. In his own later account to police, Cuba first to throw the pursuit off, then the Turks and Caicos. The Bahamas is just a stepping stone. A man once walked into the woods off Camano Island and never came back. His son has been vanishing into woods for 2 years. In Indiana, the woods run out at an ocean. Bloomington, July 4th, 2010. Night. On the ramp sits a Cessna 400, the fastest, most complex aircraft he has ever touched. This is where you came in. Can a self-taught pilot cross open ocean in the dark and live? And if he makes it, what exactly is waiting on the other side? Play this one in real time. The Cessna 400 is not a trainer. It's a composite body, glass cockpit machine built to cruise well over 200 knots. An airplane serious pilots buy after years of ratings because at that speed, mistakes arrive early and stack fast. His entire flying resume: 4 stolen airplanes, 4 crash-scarred escapes, 0 lessons. The night of July 4th. While the country watches fireworks, the 400 leaves Bloomington, Indiana. The theft gets reported. The airplane is simply gone. He points it southeast and holds it there, hour after hour. State lines sliding beneath him in the dark. Then the coastline. Then the beach slips behind the wing, and a kid who has been running for 27 months, hunted by the FBI for the last 20 of them, crosses the waterline out of the United States entirely. Miles from U.S. soil, climbing. FBI jurisdiction, 0. Open ocean at night erases the horizon. Black water runs into black sky without a scene. Just instruments, an engine he has to trust, and 1,100 plus miles of nothing with no runway guaranteed at the end of it. 1 instrument failure, 1 fuel miscalculation, 1 minute of vertigo, and nobody ever finds the airplane. The search grid would be open Atlantic, and there is no flight plan to search from because officially, no pilot exists. Licensed aviators train for years before attempting open water at night. He flies it anyway, all night, alone. On the morning of July 5th, the reports come out of the Bahamas. An aircraft down in the shallows off Great Abaco, ditched short of a runway, resting in mangrove water. 5th airplane, 5th time he walks, this time wades, away. Washington's answer arrives the next day. July 6th, a federal grand jury in Seattle, Fred Gutt's own city, the office that has hunted this kid for 20 months, indicts him. The heaviest piece of paper the United States can produce, and the man named on it is standing on foreign sand, where that paper is just paper. An indictment can't cross water, but something else is already reading his trail. and it doesn't need paperwork. Who finally reads the islands better than he does? And what is the last thing this kid ever does with a loaded gun? For a week, the Bahamas gets the same story Washington got, compressed. Break-ins reported across Great Abaco. Food, cash, gear, a stolen boat here, a sighting there, an island chain lighting up with the same pattern the San Juans took months to learn. Then a 44-foot powerboat turns up at Eleuthera, and the trail turns warm. The hands holding that trail are local. The Royal Bahamas Police are reading their own islands the way he once read his. July 11th, before dawn, near Harbor Island. He runs one last time in one last stolen boat, engines wide open across black water while police boats close the angle. Spray over the bow, muzzle flashes in the dark, and then the Royal Bahamas Police do the thing 27 months of American pursuit never managed. They shoot out his engines. The boat dies and wallows in the swell. His laptop goes over the side. 2 years of self-taught everything sinking into the dark. Flashlight beams sweep the dead hull and find a 19-year-old cornered at last, 3,000 miles from the trailer at the end of the dirt road. He raises a gun and puts it to his own head. Hold here. The boat rocks. Water slaps the hull. Nobody fires. Across the gap comes an officer's voice, low and steady, the way you talk to someone standing on a ledge. Put the gun down, son. Nobody here is going to shoot you. The pistol stays pressed to his temple. The beams stay pinned on him in the gray before sunrise. It's over. You made it farther than anybody. Don't end it in this water. Understand what you're looking at while that sentence hangs there. 2 years, 7 states, 3 countries. Roughly 100 crime scenes, with guns stolen, guns carried, guns listed in report after report. Even Granite Falls, where shots came out of the trees at deputies, was never tied to him and never charged to anyone. Across all of it, there is exactly one human being Colton Harris-Moore ever aims a weapon at. He is aiming at him right now. He walked out of that Renton halfway house carrying nothing. This is what he's carrying at the end. Put it down. A minute stretches. Another. Word by word. Across the water, the gun comes down. An inch, then all the way. Hands where they can see them. The run is over. The clock freezes, month 27. And the one cell on the ledger that never moved flips exactly once. Caught by Royal Bahamas Police. Everything America ever aimed at this kid, the millions, the Black Hawk, the federal file, and the arrest belongs to a local boat crew. So what does the country that failed to catch him do with him now? And who actually gets the $10,000? Start with the money, because the money is the verdict. 27 months of manhunt, a bill in the millions that no agency ever itemizes in public, and the only number they ever posted was $10,000. That $10,000 gets paid out, split among the people described as directly involved in his capture. Boat captains, a security man from a Bahamian resort, 5 shares. Number of FBI agents in the split, 0. Fred Gutt chased this kid for 20 months, and the only dollar figure his bureau ever put on the case ends up in its entirety in the pockets of bystanders with boats. The victim's column stays where it belongs, separate and real. His restitution is set at $129,000, owed to the people whose homes and hangars paid for all of this. Then the irony with teeth. In April 2010, while he was still running, Hollywood bought the film rights to the book being written about him, and his plea deal forfeits every dollar he could ever make off his own story. The legend sells. He is contractually barred from earning a cent of it, 2 courtrooms, 6 weeks apart. In federal court, Judge Richard Jones hands him 78 months, and Colton offers his own summary on the record. It is no stretch of the imagination to say that I'm lucky to be alive. Then, in Island County, Judge Vicki Churchill does something no arm of the state ever did while it mattered. She reads the file, the trailer, the written CPS reports, the 10-day sentences. She describes what she sees as a mind-numbing absence of hope, calls him genuinely remorseful, and then delivers the verdict that closes this whole story, word for word. This case is a tragedy in many ways, but it's a triumph of the human spirit in other ways. Tragedy and triumph, both from the bench. The system that was told about him in writing at age 7 finally, 13 years too late, reads it out loud. The epilogue is short. September 28, 2016. Released to a clerk's desk at his own defense attorney's firm. The one place that fought for him, now the one place employing him. A supporter's fundraiser to put him through flight school gets shut down. Every dollar goes to the $129,000 first. April 2019. A 28-year-old tells a court he has turned his life around. The kid nobody could catch, asking. The one thing Colton Harris-Moore ever taught himself start to finish, alone, unfed, unwatched, out of stolen manuals and a pirated simulator, was how to fly. The state ignored him at 7. It hunted him at 19, with millions it never once spent on the child. And the only thing he ever asked it for, on the record, was the sky. One more thing before you go. The FBI never caught Colton. A boat crew in another country beat them to it. But there is one man the Bureau didn't just fail to catch. They officially gave up hunting him altogether, took him off the list, quit. That story's on your screen right now.